What's going on, everybody? Rotovion here, and today in the Community Spotlight, we have Adam from Gundam Explained. I'm excited to have you, Adam. What's going on, man?
Yeah. Oh, nothing much. Yeah, no, glad you invited me to do this. Love GBO2, like the videos you do. Yeah, so glad to talk about myself, actually.
Oh, that's sweet. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. If you ready to talk about yourself, I'm ready to learn about you. So, Adam, for the people who are unaware, what sort of content does your channel cover?
Yeah, well, it's called Gundam Explained, and it's really just all things Gundam. And, it really just started, I've always been into content creation, and I am actually a Star Wars fan, and I thought one day, hey, I had a gaming YouTube channel, wasn't really doing too much. I was like, well, one day, I should make a Star Wars Explained YouTube channel, and then that existed. And I was like, well, but then, yeah, one day Gundam came out of nowhere, and I was like, this is very interesting. This could be that motivation to get me to create content again, to learn about it. So, yeah, it's just all about Gundam. Wild ride.
That's awesome. I love it. And shout outs to being a Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
because everyone has their little channel origin story, So
Yeah.
that in itself is that's kind of wholesome, low key. It's just like, let's get into it. All right. So, in similar fashion, then what exactly got you into Gundam itself?
Yeah, that is a good question. One thing I've always liked mechs. I've always liked, robots that people can pilot. That's always been a thing. And, but I just didn't know about Gundam. And right now, as of this recording, I'm 39 years old. I think I was 37. It wasn't too long ago. I was at a GameStop. I felt like, I want to build a model kit, because they started having just model kits. I just wanted something more tactile. I'm a big gamer. And then I saw what was the full armor unicorn, but I didn't know what that was. It was a real grade too, and I was like, this looks awesome. I'm gonna build it. And I built it, and it blew my mind. I was like, it being a real grade and full armor, it's like huge, it's intricate, and I was like, man, this is awesome. What is this? And then so I was like, Gundam. Let me search it. Gundam. Never heard about this, or so I thought, because I came to a realization later that one of my favorite games on Dreamcast was that side story 0079, Rise from the Ashes. Back then, I didn't know I was playing some Gundam property. I just thought I was playing a badass robot mech game. I was like, this is awesome. So once that clicked, I was like, okay, maybe I need to look into Gundam. And so really, the first thing I did was, what shows are available? What's the first show? And then I started with the original. And I was like, man, this is good stuff. Because to me, it was like Star Wars, but more mature. It seems. And I was like, that's exactly what I want. So, yeah, that's where it started.
What was the first Gundam? You watched the OG Mobile Suit Gundam the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'll give you, and that was, oof.
Well, what's funny about that, too, is because I don't watch anime, or at that time, I didn't watch anime at all. I was not into anime. In fact, I will admit, and I've got over this, I used to just think it was dumb. And maybe dumb's a hard word, but that's not my realm. Anime, no way. One thing I will say is, like, right before getting into Gundam, I went through a phase in my life where I was doing, like, meditation and more mindfulness, being more open and accepting. And so I think that helped you watch that first anime, where it's like, I don't care that it's 70s animation. Let's see if the story is good. Let's see what the quality of content. And it was amazing. The music was another thing that stood out. And then, so after that, I just went through all of them. Mainly UC. Mainly Universal Century. That's where I stayed.
Gotcha. That's really cool to hear that, even it was just a handful of years ago, you kind of caught up on a lot of UC timeline, and, the non-UC games and series and shows and all that stuff. It's interesting because Gundam is a huge franchise, right? So you have a little bit, everyone has a little bit of their own piece of the pie. You know what I'm saying? You have the people who have the crazy suits, like in Seed, Double O, who, just destroying everything. Then you have, like, the war-turned pilots. You have the military type. It's just really cool, and I really, really enjoy the different side stories they have. It is it's ridiculous, and I'm very glad to hear that you got into Gundam. Anytime someone tells me they got into Gundam, I'm excited, and I just love hearing what got them into Gundam and how and all that stuff. So I find that very, very enlightening because, as you know, I've been doing a lot of GBL2 stuff lately, but I've done a lot of the Gundam games, a lot of other non-Gundam games, mech games, whatever. And I always find it interesting when someone says, hey, I've never heard of this game, or what is this? And you tell them, and next thing you know, you kind of, word of mouth, you have another fan of another franchise, series, or genre.
Yeah, and when I was first getting into it, my thing was once I understood there were these alternate universes, I was like, well, I'm just going to stick with Universal Century for now because it aligns with what I like. And I will say, even though I said I didn't know what Gundam was, I will admit that I remember something called Wing when I was younger, but I was like, this was right when I was graduating high school, Tsunami, all that stuff. So I was at an age where, again, I wouldn't watch anime because of my perception back then. So, but I knew Tanami and Wing. So, yeah, once I got into Gundam and I heard Gundam Wing was a thing, I was like, oh, I remember that from back then. But so after I went through all the UC stuff, and then I've started watching all the AUs, and I'm almost done. And I got to say, some are hit or miss. There's some where I think I wouldn't watch them again, and some I'm like, wow, that's actually really good. So it's interesting.
So, quick question. What is, in your opinion, everyone who's listening, this is opinion only, what is one series that you would not watch again and one series that you could watch again?
So Seed, the first Seed I wouldn't watch again. But Seed Destiny, man, that is completely different to me. I would watch that again. And I kind of do here and there. I made a little video for my Discord channel where I just took some of the one of the best scenes from Shin. He's in the Impulse, and he's like knifing all these guys because he has to blow up this giant gun that was going to blow up one of the ships. And I was like, man, Seed Destiny did everything right. And I think it's crazy how you just can't stand Seed. When I was watching it too, I was like, man, I just can't. But then Destiny, completely different. That's what's funny, because with that series, online when I hear people talk about it, it is divisive. Some people like Seed or don't like Seed, and Destiny, some people like it and don't like it.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned it before in other videos, but apparently, supposedly there was some drama because Seed Destiny wasn't supposed to be what it was, because it got the characters like Kogli and Shin, and like some of the characters got written differently because there was like behind the scenes drama, because Shin was supposed to be like the third hero with Kira and Athen, rather than being like one of the primary back and forth villains. But I'll say this, it's funny, you're one of the first people in a while to say that they like Destiny more than the regular Seed. Only because the Shin thing, and it's I'm not going to knock you at all. Here's why. Although Shin was, for his purpose, some people believe a crybaby, he was a badass pilot. Yeah. He did his homework, and like he stuck to his ideals. Like, we could have a long discussion on Seed and Seed Destiny alone about what people don't like or don't do like it, or if who was right, who was wrong. But when I take a step back from Seed, what I enjoyed the most about Seed, the music was on point, the characters they were awesome, and like the character development and there's certain parts in that series that just give me the heebie-jeebies. Like, it just where
it all comes together: music, animation, character moment. Yeah, I see what you mean there.
Yeah, it's just there was just some moments that just crazy. Like I think it was Seed. I don't think it was Seed Destiny. Whenever they were attacking the plants in space with the nukes. Isaac he saw it, and the first time he panicked, he was like, don't let them hit our plants. And then it was like he was terrified. And like, man, the whole thing with Athen, Kira, and our boy Shin with Destroyer Gundam, all that stuff. And oh man, if y'all have not seen Seed and Seed Destiny, I think it's worth a watch. If you're listening, so do it, because I could go on and on, but I digress. So is that both of your answers one you would rewatch and one you wouldn't rewatch, or is there another one?
Well, that's funny, because I It's crazy how much I do regularly rewatch UC stuff. I am actually surprised. I don't rewatch many things in general, and I like to find new things, especially things that are just not the same thing. But like I'll watch F91 over and over because it's a quick, fast movie that's constant action and amazing animation. Even Zeta, like just the first 5 episodes of Zeta alone are just compelling, and I'll just rewatch that. Even the newer stuff like Gundam 00, I want to rewatch that because I was surprised how much I liked 00 when at first I didn't think I would like it, but then it was like, wow, this is really good. Even the movie where it went to aliens, I was like, wow, that's a great change. So yeah, 00 is one I want to watch again.
Yeah, 00 is definitely 00 is one I would suggest for new people to come watch. 00 and Iron Blood Orphans are really good shows.
Okay, see, I haven't seen Iron Blooded Orphans yet. That's another one I'm sure I should be getting to.
You should check it out and let me know. All right, so let's hop to another question. All right, so we were talking about your channel and what got you into Gundam episodes and whatnot, but like you mentioned, your content isn't just game focused. Like, I understand you did Star Wars content before, but what made you interested in doing lore videos, like in general? Like, what did something speak out to you?
No, that's a really good question. It's a very complex answer, and I'll try to be quick about it. So I've always been fascinated with filmmaking. I've always told myself I'm going to be a filmmaker one day, and I'm not yet. And it's like, well, what is it I need to do? And I just like to create. So originally I had a video game channel, and it's funny because even though it's a video game channel, the highest viewed video is a Star Wars related thing where it's only a minute long too. I'll have to share it to you later. It's just where I took clips from Solo and the original A New Hope and just matched it, and it just worked. And it's that magic of the edit that I enjoy. And so what was going on, I didn't know what to do with my video game channel, and I wasn't consistent. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll just talk about Star Wars because I like Star Wars. But then now that already existed, and there's enough good stuff out there. So I was like, you know what? When I got into Gundam, I would search, and I didn't necessarily find any strong Gundam YouTube channels that were full of all different types of things about Gundam. I think some are close, like Kakarot is one that's close, and I watch his stuff regularly. But I wanted to do things on the extreme, knowing that if I'm going to start a new YouTube channel, I have to take advantage of the algorithm, and I also know that my content being as broad as it will be, even though within Gundam, might mean there's a little bit of a struggle at the beginning because it's not as niche. It's it's a niche, but a little wider. But what my plan was to have a plan to be making content on a consistent basis that I can say this is my creation. This maybe could lead to eventually me being a filmmaker by always working on making something, but also because I love Gundam, I wanted to learn about it. So I said, okay, my videos would be based on me researching a topic that I'm interested in, and then I'll make a video about it. And on top of that, I like the collectibles and the Gunpla, so I'd want to make a video about that. And then I used to have a video game podcast that was on the radio back in the 2000s, and that stopped, and I liked podcasting, so I was like, okay, I'll have, then one of the videos that comes out during the week will be a podcast. That became a live stream with Steven from Midnight Hatter, another Gundam channel, and it's really turned into, and another thing I didn't mention, I have a background in digital marketing. I used to do that professionally. And I was like, okay, I'm going to apply everything I've learned from my previous gaming channel, from my digital marketing, and from my podcasting and wanting to learn Gundam, and I put it all together to make this channel. And so it's like a learning and growth experience for me, but also it's putting content out there that even I had trouble finding.
That was well said. That was really dope. Okay, yeah. So I didn't even anticipate it going that deep in regards to like your passion for making films and even the digital background. That's really cool. And again, that's why we ask these questions, because stuff like that's kind of dope, bro. It's kind of dope.
It's always interesting. Yeah.
Oh man. Oof.
And even right now, I said I used to do digital marketing, but the problem was there was a lot of social media involved, and over time, I just kind of got tired of how social media worked. It was a lot of fakeness. It was a lot of nothing of real value, and I didn't even feel like I was really helping our clients with the content because it was just push. I was with the agencies, and it was just push out content, push, and it wasn't value. And so I just went to IT since I just know tech stuff, and actually now I'm a cybersecurity analyst. So that's like really my career that helps me do this.
Yeah, no, that's a dope career. Yeah. Oh, I trust me. I get it. 105%. I'm feeling it. All right, dope. So back to more Gundam-esque questions. We were kind of getting there, but like, out of all the Gundam series and universes that you have seen or been a witness of, like, what are your favorite 3 Gundam machines?
Yeah, my favorite 3 are the Mark II. I even remember when, after watching the original, then I watched Zeta, and I saw like the Mark II as the next step of the RX-78 and I was like, man, that's such an excellent design. So the Mark II is like my top. And then after that, it changes a lot, but one in particular that I know that I've had a focus on is the Hazel Custom specifically. I love that too, and it also takes after the Mark II in some ways. I just love that design. And then third one, it's probably the Pale Rider. And I wouldn't have said that, a year ago, but now that I've gotten used to like the Pale Rider, and I even recently did a video on my channel where I talked about the Pale Rider development history, and that even got me to appreciate it more. So, that Pale Rider.
Those are really solid picks, and someone hitting Mark II, I agree. Like that initial debut of the Mark II, you're like, okay, I see you, Gundam. And then Hazel Custom. So I don't know if you are aware, but our very good friend of ours, Neric, he is also a very, very Hazel fanboy of sorts. Especially of anything from that part of the world. He's all about the Hazel suit. So I think about that as well. Pale Rider, like you, I think I've came to appreciate Pale Rider that much more. Probably after GBO2. Playing GBO2 for so many years, when I saw like the initial Pale Rider, when we had like, just Pale Rider Cavalry, and then we had VG, and then we had like the space one, and have all these. I think Pale Rider's design, it's sleek, it's nice, and it has the Hades system, and I just love it. It's just so cool. And you were talking about development, the Pale Rider, my favorite little gimmick is Dullahan. That's probably my favorite Pale Rider variant.
Yeah,
I absolutely love
Dullahan. Fun to use in GBO2. That's like my favorite raid, probably.
Yeah, and it's just awesome. It's like, because that suit was released for Halloween some time ago, but it was funny because the play on Dullahan, like headless horseman kind of thing, it doesn't have the system in place, and I thought, I see what you did there. So
that's a pretty neat little. That's what I love, that attention to detail. And it's funny you brought up GBO2 in that way, because when I first got into Gundam, I was like, okay, what are some Gundam games that are out there to play? And one was GBO2, but at that time it was only in the Asian region. But I with PlayStation, it's easy. You just make an account in that region, download it, and that's actually when I started playing it. And that's what helped me learn about the suits. And to end with the Pale Rider, the other cool thing about it is how it eventually evolves into the Toadsritter, which is a badass 700.
It is.
It's just badass. But it's funny because at that point that's a Xeon suit, and with my 3 picks, I didn't pick anything that was Xeon related, and I know in the Gundam fan base people love their Zaku's, and I love them too, but it's like with Star Wars and the Rebels, like with Gundam, I like the Federation. It's, the quote unquote good guys,
So it's fun. It's funny you say that, because like when it comes to like Xeon, I don't care for Zaku's that much, because they're not my thing, but I usually like their custom made suits. More than Federation.
They usually add like armaments on them that give it that more bulkier mech look.
And they're just designs just feel very nice. But I feel as if I like the grunt units from the Federation more. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, the GMs, all the variants.
Yes, bro. GM snipers, baby. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yeah. And that's funny because and let me get this right, because there's the GM Sniper 2 from 0080, and that was actually the body that was used for the Pale Rider development.
Yeah. So, like, full circle to how this stuff just happens. And another game that I think also got me into it, of course it was an imported game at the time, but it was like the Gundam Versus games and the Gundam Extreme Versus games on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2. I think on PlayStation 3, when we had just vanilla Extreme Versus, that had accessibility. If you had accessibility to it, it introduced a lot of mobile suits to me personally as well. And I really appreciate it for what it had. I don't know if
the ones that started on PS4, like the Versus and then the Maxi Boost, and I like those. In fact, Versus is a nice casual way to play, and I love how it introduces, like, you're on a map and it starts playing the music and it shows the units. That really helped me identify and understand, like, the mobile suits with their series and the music, because music is big for me, and Gundam has good music.
Same. Bruh, let's go. I can talk about Gundam music all the time, but I think Gundam Versus was really good for us. Some people didn't like it, but unfortunately, I felt as if that was not the right way to take the reception for that game. I thought it was a really good game. I'm glad we got it, because if we hadn't got that, we probably wouldn't even get these delayed ports of Maxi Boost, correct. But how I feel about that series is a whole another can of worms. But I mean, in the day, I love more Gundam stuff for more Gundam people.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I would even say that about Evolution. I really don't care for Gundam Evolution, but I'm happy it exists, and I will promote it. Yeah, because that game is for someone.
And more Gundam people, more good times. All right, so I got a question. This is going to be a little bit harder to narrow down. Do you have a favorite pilot in the Gundam universe or something?
Yeah, it might be a cop-out answer, but it's like Amuro. It's just, I was enamored with him acting like a teenager that got caught up in this stuff. And, you see Luke Skywalker, almost the same thing. He gets in his X-Wing, blows up the Death Star. They celebrate afterwards. But Amuro kills a couple mobile suit pilots, and then he's sitting in the bed terrified. He's like, I just killed people. And I just loved that kind of realism, that groundingness. And I loved, too, in that original show, acting like a teenager. It's like he was expecting the adults to treat him a certain way, and then he, kind of that selfish teenagerness. And I was like, wow, they're really writing a real character here. And like, so in the AUs, too, like, I like Shin a lot, like we were just talking about. And in 00, I forgot his name. The main guy in 00. Why am I forgetting his name? But Setsuna, exactly. He and it's funny because it's the same voice actor as Amuro, but in the English. But Setsuna to me is more like the kind of the stoic badass, where it's like the extreme end of a pilot. So yeah, Amuro for the realism, Setsuna for that kind of stoic badass. I'm a Gundam.
Yeah, that's you know what? I can't knock you on that, because Amuro himself, he has proven time and time again in countless opportunities, shows, games, franchises, that he is legit worthy of being like the OG new type. You know what I'm saying? So like he handled business. So
he did.
So that's, I can't knock it. And Setsuna, he's amazing. It's not really a spoiler alert, but I fell in love with Setsuna at the very end of Gundam 00. After the things he had to fight, this dude fought like bosses back to back to back, and I was just like, this man is amazing. But
I know.
Yeah, he was pretty awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so another Gundam-esque question. This is more for our viewers here. As Gundam grows, especially in the West, with more series, more games, more time, like more limelight in front of our eyes. Do you have any tips or information for newcomers who's looking to get into like Gundam games, or Gunpla building or anything?
Yeah, that's a really good one, because I think, like you brought up earlier, how Gundam is just so huge, and And I think for some people that can be scary when they're like, oh, I want to get into Gundam. You know, some of the first thing, and also like you brought up, it depends how someone got into Gundam. Was it a show or anime they came across? Was it a Gunpla? Was it a game? And I think, you know, a good way to go about it is watching the original show. I think that's the best way to go about it. And even it's a good practice if you're someone that has a hard time watching old cartoons or old animation. It's a good practice because of how many episodes are to just sit and take it in. You'll appreciate it, especially because how the story's being told. And that will give you appreciation to other animation that, you know, sometimes on the surface you might not want to watch it, but it's good. And then also the games, I think GBO2 is a good one. Even though that one's hard, like, you can still play casually. Like, I kind of did the first 2 years it was out. I was just really playing super casually. I wasn't enhancing my suits. I didn't know about putting parts on my suits. I was just having fun getting the gotchas and seeing what suit I got, and then reading the description, and then going out and seeing the weapons. Then for Gunpla, you know, what's really cool is you could go to Target right now, and you could get a Char Zaku 2, you could get an RX-78 you could even get what I've been seeing now a lot is the Witch from Mercury Aerial. And, you know, that's a cool one.
Crazy, dude, because, you know, like, many years, it was hard to come across Gundam merchandise, you know, but it's more accessible now, and I love it.
Yeah, because I never saw it. Like, I never really understood what Gundam was until later, and so I don't know how many times I may have asked something in a store, not realizing that was Gundam. But yeah, the fact that you can, and not only that, but Target had like that exclusive G3 from that Gundam Universe line of action figures. So it's not even Gunpla. So if you don't want to build, but you want to collect, there's a really cool line of action figures.
Yeah. Most definitely. Oh, man. So, like, the whole idea of getting people into Gundam is dope. And thank you for that. Because Words of Wisdom, there's so many opportunities out there, everybody. If you're interested in Gundam, hey, look. You have not one, but two people here in your corner. I'm just saying, make sure, just ask all the questions, because since it's been around for so long, there's so many people who've been in there so many degrees. So, I mean, I feel like it's accessible, even more with YouTube. You can just jump in the comment section and go, hey, yo, look, I'm new to Gundam. What show should I watch? You know, I felt like I've had to answer that a lot of times, or people ask my opinions. And, of course, I'm always certain to be very mindful and open-minded that there's a lot of different opinions out there, as well as, you know, likes and dislikes. So I usually give people a handful of choices, you know.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting too because the newer show that's out right now, Witch from Mercury, is doing great. Where there's, I think it's like an all-time for Gundam, the franchise. And what's funny about Witch from Mercury is I'm enjoying watching it, but when it comes to a Gundam show, it's kind of at the bottom of the list for me. But I'm actually just enjoying it as just a show to watch because it is more mature anyway. It's you know, even though it has kind of the cutesy anime stuff that happens, it does deal with death and, you know, loss just like Gundam does. So
it is very mature.
Witch from Mercury, Witch from Mercury's I think is cool. Yeah. It is cool.
I'm excited to see where that goes and what that will do for the Gundam fandom. Cool. All right. So, speaking of such things, if you had to live in one Gundam universe or timeline / series, which would it be and why?
Okay, that's a good one. I feel like there is a cheat answer and there's a real answer. The cheat answer is the Build series. I don't think that's a cheat answer, but I'll allow you to share both of them. Continue. Yeah. So that, and then I guess the other one, you know, it's like as much as I love Universal Century, I don't want a colony dropped on me. So I would probably go. But you know, thinking through them, it's very hard to think of like another. It wouldn't be Universal Century. It'd have to be another AU. I don't know. Almost maybe, even though I I don't really like G Gundam that much. It's okay. I think that universe, because it's kind of a funny, more fantastical approach in general, and I kind of like the idea of living in a world where countries compete, using robots. It's kind of a neat thing. So,
Yeah.
although I guess if you get to the end and then the whole world's taken over by that Devil Gundam, that doesn't work out.
Yeah, so it's funny because I did like G Gundam because you're in the spandex suit, but whatever you do, they do. So it's like, man, if I was a Gundam pilot, I'd be fit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be at the same time. If you're not fit, you'll be like, hang on, trying to catch your breath and stuff. I'm like, man,
That's a good point.
But no, I do enjoy it, and the whole like Neo Japan, all the Neo China, like all how they had like their own like clusters and all the stuff, and how the world had the ring around it. All that was really neat. I really like the concept of it, and I think that is a classical gem piece in my heart, just because it just hit right. And Build Fighters, so. I have some people who've said Build Fighters, and I'm totally fine with that because I've said it time and time again. Build Fighters is probably my absolute most favorite Gundam series, hands down. But
that is really cool. Seiji told me that the other day when I was talking to him, and I started the first episode, and I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
I probably just need to go ahead and finish it.
You totally should, because I felt as if that's a show that you're able to appreciate that much more if you've watched or grew up with Gundam. Even then, if you want to talk about quality combat, quality music, Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, it's there, dog. Go ahead, take a look. Message me whenever you finish watching it, and we can just spaz out about it, because I find myself rewatching that series a lot.
I had some of my supporters were telling me like to get through like G Gundam and Seed first, because there's a lot of carryover. I don't know. Do you think there's any other series I need to make sure I'm watching before that? The only thing that I haven't finished yet, I mean, I'm halfway through After War, and I just started Turn A. Otherwise, I think I've watched everything but IBO.
I think you'll be fine, honestly.
Yeah, cool.
I think you'll be fine. Yeah, with those two, you'll be totally fine. You will enjoy it. So I'll say just enjoy Build Fighters for what it is, because I felt that mess. Like, I think Build Fighters changed my life for the good, of course, as well as kind of revived the Gunpla hype in the West, because it did a lot. That and like Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3, when those came out. Of course, some of us imported it, but that was like the best time to be a Gundam fan who just, if you want to just build suits and play and all that stuff. It was really good. It was really good.
That's cool.
So there's that. But it's been really awesome talking to you. We still have a few more questions. Have some community questions for you. But before I get there, I wanted to ask, are there any other like fun and interesting facts you'd like or would be able to share with the people who's tuning in?
Yeah. So, I talked about filmmaking. Like, I love doing that, and so I'll write stuff a lot. Like, I for some reason I have this obsession with like, I wish I could make some movies, and like, man, like I would love to make a proper and because Wesley Snipes is still a badass. They need to make another Blade movie with him.
Yes, bro.
So I've written like, I don't know how many times, like Blade scripts of like, let's make a Blade.
Yeah.
And then I just watched that new Evil Dead Rise, and I'm like, oh man. So I started writing a script for a new Evil Dead. Like,
nice.
But on the flip side, with music, I love making music. I started with guitar, and then drums became my thing, and then I've recorded music with my brother. Mainly metal, like extreme metal. We kind of like black metal and death metal and stuff like that. So, a lot of that type of stuff. And I've always said, like, one day I'd like to actually get a full album out. Like, we both play, but it's that thing where sometimes it's really hard to like hone in on and focus on a creative endeavor and just do that,
Right. Yeah.
And so, the music, the film. I used to draw a whole lot, and I don't anymore. But I appreciate the fact that I've been able to do all this stuff while having a family. I'm married. I have 3 kids, and so that's and I like that I've gotten to a point in my life where I can do all of that stuff, and so that's pretty cool. And then What are some other? Something just popped up into my head and I forgot because I tend to talk over my thoughts. But I think
It's all
I
good.
think that's about it. I think it's when it comes to facts, yeah, the music, film, I like that. Oh, in video games, man, I play a lot of video games. Or I guess maybe more in the past too. I think I am a video game encyclopedia, and a plan I've always had in my head is once I get to a point with Gundam Explained that like I know that's something that can work. My plan is to go back and do that with gaming. And a lot of it is I have this encyclopedia knowledge of the industry. I mean, I was there, with Atari, and I've always kept up with stuff. My dad was into that stuff, but he'd always buy the latest. He wouldn't play it, but he would always buy the latest consoles, and we would play. So yeah, gaming's my thing too. Yeah, it's like I've always been 12, and I enjoy it.
I love that. I love that expression. It's like I've always been 12, and I enjoy it because that was when, when you get to our age, you you realize like, wow, being around that age, you didn't have to pay for stuff. You didn't have to. I mean, there's trade-offs now at this time in our life, but back then it's like you had no care in the world. Like the most thing you had to worry about was homework or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there wasn't all the burden of realities of the world, and that kind of stay on your mind a lot. You would be so interested when you'd see something new and get excited. I like that. And that's the other thing. I think that goes to the other facts. Like I was saying, I discovered meditation in 2018 and really dived in that rabbit hole. I even did a 10-day silent meditation. So for 10 days, no phone, no talking, meditation. And I feel like that has helped me to really hone in on the things I like and to focus on what I want to create. And so I would suggest for people out there that are trying to figure out like where they want to put their efforts in being creative, sometimes learning how to be quiet with your mind and just think of your thoughts can really help you get there.
Hey, that's some nice tips right there. I like that. Nice chill, bro. I'm about them vibes. That's what's up. All right, cool. So I have a few questions here from the community before we wrap up. So while we're here, let's jump into this one. If you were tasked with the creation of a perfect Gundam game, what genre would it be, and what mechanics or must-have?
This is a great question because I've been kind of I've created a proof of concept with Steven from Midnight Hatter, who does live streams. I do on his channel, he does on mine, and he is a developer himself.
Awesome.
And it's interesting because I guess I consider myself more a designer. I don't have that proficiency in these programs, even though I've kind of started. But we created a proof of concept, and the idea would be it would be an open world, Universal Century 1 Year War style, or it would be more than 1 Year War, but basically think Dark Souls but Gundam. And the idea would be, and we already have kind of this first level created somewhat, but the game would just start where you're on the surface of the moon as a GM with a damaged leg, and then just up in the space above you, you just see the battles happening. And the idea is you start exploring, you find downed Zaku's, and you can actually take their parts and their shields to kind of rebuild, and you capture points. And the point of that first area is you find a Corvette booster that takes you up into space so you can regroup with your team. And from there, the game would be where you're just exploring Earth sphere, and it's within the 1 Year War, but you can kind of decide if you want to fight with Xeon or with the Federation. But along the way, it's about collecting mobile suits instead of like the bonfires in Dark Souls. Instead, it would be hangars you would come across, and in the hangar you could see all your different mobile suits you've collected, all the different parts, and you can swap that you can swap parts, but what would be part of the canon, so it wouldn't be like build fighters or anything, or breaker, but the idea would be you can do that, and then you go out and fight, and I would want the combat to be very kind of deliberately paced, a little slow in a way, but maybe when you're in space it could be a little faster. Game design, like I was talking about writing these scripts for movies. I've written so many game design documents for games I've been wanting to make. So that's another thing. So that's a good question.
That was a good question. That was awesome. Hey, if y'all, down the road, hey, yo, Ben, so y'all listening, you know what I'm saying? But hey, that's
Yeah,
really
North
cool.
Carolina, don't they have Epic out there?
Yeah, they have a lot of gaming companies on the East Coast, especially in North Carolina.
I've noticed that. Yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty cool.
So, next community question here. I think we kind of went over this, but we'll do it again. What are your favorite 3 Federation and favorite 3 Xeon mobile suits?
Okay. So yeah, with Federation, I would say like the RX-78-2, a GM, and a gun cannon, and then verse like Zaku, a Dom, and a Goof. Like just that kind of setup is just classic and badass. And yeah.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate it. It's just straight to the point, old school. Hell yeah. All right, so you actually already answered this. But you said the first model kit you built was a full armor unicorn. Do you still build Gunpla, and how often do you do that?
Yeah. I build a lot. I did go a time, and I do this, I think. I'll go like months where I won't build, and then I'll go months where I'm building like crazy. I think it's because I get so into it, then I get tired of it. But
yeah.
After I built that real grade unicorn, it was funny because nothing had satisfied me since that. That real grade unicorn is just a beast. But right after that, I got I guess it was in my mind at the time. I was like, well, I think the main robot is the one with the yellow, and I didn't know it was called a V-fin at the time, but the yellow thing on its head. And so at GameStop, the other kit they had was the narrative. I forget which packs it was, the one with the long arms, and I built that, and then I went to a hobby. There's a hobby town near me that they had a crazy. When I remember when I first walked into there, thinking, "Let's see what they have." They had walls of Gunpla, and I'm like, "Wow, is it really that big?" And so I asked the guy, "Hey, what should I get? I just got into this," and he recommended an awesome one. It was the Master Grade Origin RX-78-2.
Yes.
And yeah, that was a great recommendation.
Beautiful.
And since then, I mean, I probably have it's got to be 100 I've built, and and it's only been the past year that I've been like painting, detailing, coding. But you know what? The other thing too that I've slowed down on because it's costly is I buy a lot of those robot spirits. I don't know if you're familiar with the robot spirits.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, it's just because they're already built, but they're like highly detailed, accurately. Like
they're
I
super
love
cool.
That.
They're super cool. Yeah, I also collect. I used to build model kits, but I had to stop because I ran out of space. I'm like, all right, as much as I love them, I'll just build them digitally on Gundam Breaker and whatnot. But like, I do have figures and whatnot for or Gundam and other mech and non-mecha things alike. Shout outs to Tekkaman because I love Tekkaman and Guyver. But yeah, no, that's what's up. I think that's gonna do it for all the questions. Adam, I just want to say you have been a delight. You have been absolutely amazing. It was awesome getting to chat with you and playing some GBO2 with you.
Yeah, likewise.
Can you tell people where to find you and your social deets?
Yeah, so I really go by Gundam Explained everywhere. And I've noticed, if you search that anywhere, you're going to find it. I think I'm primarily trying to get people to my YouTube. So yeah, just search Gundam Explained on YouTube. You'll find it. Give us a subscribe. Discord also. We have a lot of fun in the Discord. I even will usually throw up my own custom content on Discord that I don't put on the YouTube channel. So.
Very nice. Exclusive content. I will put all the links to Gundam Explained in the description below. So I do want to thank you all for coming, supporting not only myself, but also our boy from Gundam Explained, Adam. It means a lot to not only him, but also myself when you guys take the time out of your day to listen to these videos, watch these videos. Of course, like he said, show him some love on his channels. And here, make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe. Adam, my man, I usually let my guests sign off. I appreciate you so much. You can sign off, take it away, and say whatever you want to say to the world.
Cool, yeah. I mean, hey, look, Gundam is, what did they say? Gundam is freedom. But no, I would just say, hey, get into Gundam, have fun. But at the end of the day, be positive. Be positive. People have joy and love for the hobby, for the universe, and it's always good, even if you disagree with something, always be positive about it.